Yeah, do we need a revolution? Hell yeah. Do we need some evolution? Hell yeah. Do we need some
Jimmy, what it do? We have voted. We have put our thoughts into action. So I'm excited to now just kind of get your post voting experience. And how do you feel Tarrant County's doing?
I looked at that paper like 1,000 times before I inserted it into the machine to make sure I had picked the right people. Yeah, it's been really encouraging to see Tarrant County get higher and higher turnouts every day, almost cracking 50,000 on Friday. I didn't check for Saturday, but man, we're off to a hot start. I think that we're already close to 20% turnout in Tarrant County. Yeah. When I think we had 7% turnout at the primary. Yeah. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I think I was talking to you about this off air, but I always kind of walk my dog, same walk, and there's this one lady or this I don't know who lives there, but they have a big Trump flag. But then across the street, there is their neighbor has anyone but Trump sign, and then the person next to them has a Biden Harris sign, and it's probably been like that for, the year.
Yeah,
and but we were walking the dog, and the flag wasn't there. So I was like, where's her flag? But then I saw her across the street with her flag rolled up, held in her hand while she was talking to her neighbors across the street. And I was like, whoa, if this is a sign that someone who believes Trump and this can change their mind and see the true colors. I don't know if it was the debate for her because it was after the debate. I don't know how you felt about the debates, the town halls. But maybe that did it for her. I don't know.
So either she went and bought a bigger flag or there are some cool conversations happening.
Yeah. And then, speaking of bigger flags, then I went to Arlington Heights area, and there was this dude who looked like he was selling fireworks. And it was the Alamo Metroplex, Megaplex fireworks stand. But hey, we'll see. I mean, not everyone. We can't get everyone. But what was your take on the town halls?
They were interesting. I didn't watch Trump's.
Yeah. And it showed ratings that Biden's was higher, so.
Which that's Trump's wheelhouse. That's a massive ego hit. And he hasn't said anything about it, which makes me think either they've told him that he did outrate Biden or that it was like a tie, maybe.
It was relatively close.
Yeah, I think it was like 700,000 viewers, ABC versus 3 NBC networks. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, Biden's town hall was what you expect a politician's town hall to be. And I don't really know much about how Trump's was. So I think they have their last debate this coming Thursday, and fingers crossed that it goes a little bit better than how the last one did.
Yeah. And I think, all the polls are just looking like, what's so crazy about this is I have people I know who's still voting for Trump, and I'm just like taking deep breaths and calming my anxiety. But I just think like the polls are showing crazy colors. And like you said, man, if Houston keeps turning out like this and people start showing up in the state, it's just wild to me. Everything's showing that it's going to be a blue wave of Senate, and I hope so. But I hope we get Lindsey Graham out. I hope that would be great. There's just so much going on. Iowa's looking good. There's just crazy stuff all across the country, just looking very exciting.
Yeah. So across the country, as of Sunday morning, there have been at least 27.5 million votes already cast, which is significant because in most states, early voting wouldn't have even started at this point. Texas, we wouldn't have started until this coming Tuesday. In Texas specifically, over 4 million votes have already been cast. And Houston seems to be the bellwether, over 100,000 votes every single day in Harris County. Friends down there are saying that every location has at least a 30-minute wait still. It's pretty crazy to see people turning out this way. And long term, hopefully it stays this way. Hopefully this has inspired a lot of people to get involved and stay informed. And long term, we see American voter turnout really turn around. Especially Texas and Tarrant County specifically is notoriously bad at showing up to vote.
Yeah.
I think that this election could really turn the tide on that and make Tarrant County a place that takes its civic duty a little more seriously going forward.
Yeah. And I mean, you have the, because unfortunately, what's funny, my wife has been phone banking, every weekend. And she said that someone from El Paso said, MJ doesn't have a snowball hell and chance of winning this year, and which I agree. But so we still got a lot of work to do from our, every time, like Ted Cruz tweets are now equally as stressful to me as Trump tweets. Like, I don't know if he's trying to follow a pattern here, but I'm like, okay, this guy's next on the list of things we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Because it's just a bad look for Texas.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, polls are starting to show MJ in a statistical tie with Cornyn across 5 or 6 different pollsters I've seen recently.
I hope
his
so.
debate performance was very bad.
Yeah.
And
she's great.
Yeah, and she is great. So we'll see if people are voting down ballot. Hopefully that means somebody like Bill Wayburn in Tarrant County doesn't have a job anymore. Because Vance is a really great candidate as well.
Yeah.
And Bill, I mean, the number of people that have died in Tarrant County jails this year, pregnancies, mental illness that is just going unchecked. We really need a change at sheriff in Tarrant County.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole backing a candidate and being in commercials and, that's just that you shouldn't be doing, you shouldn't be using the uniform.
Yeah, the police uniform.
Yeah, the police uniform to be in political commercials.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
But so I mean, let's. We got a lot to talk about today. We have the rodeo, which is going to be a big story today. But before we kind of get there, what's your kind of take on the bars opening? Bars open. This week I actually went to. Last week I went to the bar for the first time. I went to Bearded Lady, which seems like what we were talking about. Seems like the spot because it has a big patio, and it was full. But I went there with our friend of the show, Brian Dixon, and a couple other friends, and it was cool. But what's your thoughts on the bars opening? Have you seen friends out on your IG, on your social, on your Twitter, and any crazy news? Or
I really haven't. I've noticed that Friday and Saturday nights on social media have slowed down a lot, which gives me the impression that people are, getting back out there. I enjoy consistency in decision making, and opening bars is consistent with the rest of the decisions that Abbott and really Tarrant County, because the decision is left up to county judges. It's consistent with those decisions. Whether I agree with that decision or not, I at least appreciate consistency. We know a number of bars across town had worked to reclassify themselves to restaurants so that they could open already. So I don't even know actually how many businesses this affects. I would say it's a smaller number than it would have. It's one of those things where I'm not rushing out. I think we know that the numbers are trending back into a bad spot. Texas per capita is in a really terrible spot, but I'd at least appreciate that they're not isolating one business and trying to say that it's the sole purpose of COVID spread. So I hope that places take it responsibly.
Yeah. And I totally feel the COVID fatigue, and, I actually had it for work, right? I went to Phoenix last week and stayed in an Airbnb. Did my job. Did not enjoy being on a full packed plane. And
you were rocking that face shield, though.
Yeah, you're right. You say. And you know what? I was crazy. There was not many face shield wearers, like doubling down with a mask and a face shield. It was just me and another old lady. And I was like, what's up, girl? I feel you, right? But everyone else,
Come sit next to me, please.
I promise I won't give you the row, you know. So, but yeah, no. So it was cool, and I definitely don't want to really kind of do it again. I mean, like, it's not that I don't. I will. Like, work is work, but yeah, I know you're traveling. I'm really interested to see how it all works out with the holidays, college kids getting out earlier. Mm-hmm. So are they going to be going home? Where are they going to be headed? And is it just going to be packed? I was upset because the Admirals Club and everything was closed at 5:00, like, because I guess they have short hours. So then you have like everyone out just sitting around restaurants. I had to have Panda Express because everything was closed in the airport.
I don't know why you're hating on Panda Express. What did they do to you?
Man, I mean, college, sure. I mean, now, you know, I guess it's just after, you get older and I can't do it.
Yeah.
You know? But
yeah, you just got to start flying Southwest. Get off that American.
Dude, you know what? I'm not a fan of Southwest, unfortunately. I'm not like to me, the whole not having a seat thing, it's always a lot. It creates more anxiety, in my opinion.
People can make bad choices. Like, we can still be friends.
And then you have to also I feel like it's like a lunch. It's like a cafeteria room, and like where the cool kids sit, and then where does the it's like you're trying to find the right friends to sit by, and it's all a big drama. But hey, I agree. I from a cultural perspective, I hate American. Golf clubs fly free. Snow gear flies free. But
gotta love those bailouts and stock buybacks.
But single, moms have to pay an extra bag fee. That's how it works. So, anyways, but so we'll see how it goes. I know we do have some kind of positive news around just in Stop 6 with some urban developments. So I know bars are opening, but it also looks like we're actually taking the new apartment complex that's going in Stop 6, Cowan, I believe that's how we say it. And it's going to be a multi kind of senior living availability, but also a place for apartments for other people as well. So it's going to be a multi-blend, which is very cool. I always love multi-blend areas where I think having younger kids around older people and people our age being able to live around older people and just having that kind of diversity in age is just a cool experience for all parties. So it seems like it's pretty beautiful. It looks pretty modern and fresh. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so this comes from back in April. Stop 6 was one of a couple neighborhoods across the country that received a $35 million grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Choice Neighborhoods. So basically what that means is that the Department of Housing and Urban Development chooses neighborhoods across the country to invest money in to create more livable places and really just try to revitalize areas. So that we found out they received that in April. Now this is the first thing that we have seen out of that, which are the architectural plans for the mixed income senior living community. I mean, that's a big win for Stop 6 and a big win for the city. I'm really glad to see that investment is going in there. And I hope that long term, that also means that private and local investment is coming on top of that grant to really develop this area. So there's a number of facilities that are planned to help revitalize the area and provide affordable housing. And this is just step one. So I think it's the building does look really beautiful. If you go to the homepage of Fort Worth Magazine's website, you can see it right there up top. I think that this is a really great thing, and I am excited to see what else is to come and hopefully continue to see this area develop.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, with Stop 6 been needing something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been needing something to just allow it to evolve as beautiful as the people there who work really hard and are proud to be a part of Fort Worth. And so, I mean, this is just the beginning. I mean, it's looking like 6 phases with multi-family unit homes coming, 1,000 plus, right? Of different places for and options to live there and safely live and be a part of just the constant development that's happening everywhere else in Fort Worth. So I think that is exciting. And I mean, even as just East Side people seeing that happening is cool. And I know we also have, I mean, much closer to downtown, but you also have the bike lanes and kind of a couple other things we're investing in the city, which is neat.
Yeah, so the Regional Transportation Council recently approved $23.5 million in federal funding for active transportation projects in North Texas, and that includes $2.3 million in Fort Worth to construct separated bike lanes, and these are specifically going to be along East 4th Street and East 1st Street, which they already have bike lanes, but it is providing the proper spacing, signage, etc., to make those comfortable and give a mold that the rest of the city can work off of. I mean, right now, like, stores are struggling to keep bikes in stock with the pandemic. Like, biking, outdoor activity is just becoming so much more popular. We sold our bikes on Facebook Marketplace a couple weekends ago.
Wow.
We put them on there. Within 2 minutes, we had somebody message us to come buy them, and they were in like an hour to come get them. So like, biking's becoming big, and I think that downtown Fort Worth would be an awesome place to be bikeable and walkable. And so long term, I think this makes Fort Worth a more affordable place to live if you're not having to have a car to get around the city. So hopefully it's something that really takes off.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. And I mean, I can even see it now, right? You get to bike downtown, you go under the bridge, you go down Lancaster, South Main. And
especially with the Panther Island bridges,
that's true.
Actually having a time frame to be done now, like you could, in a reasonable way, connect the stockyards to downtown, to, down Camp Bowie, or go south down Main into the south side. It just makes Fort Worth an easier place to get around. And long term, that's an attractive thing for a lot of people that are looking for bigger cities that are affordable to move to.
Speaking of getting around, by the way, why has 30 been so packed traffic these days? Right by your exit, kind of.
Yeah, going east. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of construction on the road, but I've just been going back down Lancaster to get home now.
Yeah,
because
same.
It's 50-50 on if it's going to take an extra 20 minutes or not.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck is going on? It's like you could see it from wherever you are. Like, man, this is like the line back, and it starts right there at your exit. I'm like, man, I'm taking Lancaster. So we've been taking Lancaster.
Yeah.
All the way. So, but yeah, I didn't know. Fort Worth is doing their thing, and I think it's kind of really fortunate that we're, in times like this. I think you're seeing people adapt. You're also seeing across the country the increase of pet adoptions, and actually business that is doing well is vets and animal care, because people are getting an animal, maybe noticing more around their animal's health. And so you're seeing a lot more vet visits as well. And so I think it's interesting to see what happens in a pandemic and what changes and what people become interested in when, now you're working from home. For sure. We also have kids kind of doing this hybrid model. You still got a lot of kids still going virtual. Yeah. So it's just really cool to see it's unfortunate to see our bars take a hit, but then it's cool to kind of see, some places actually doing stronger because of like bikes, and bike shops and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I hope that we can actually look at these things and say, hey, this is a positive change for, American lifestyle, North Texas, Fort Worth lifestyle. Like, how do we adopt this to make it a long-term thing instead of just, I got into biking when I was stuck at home, but now I don't really do it anymore. Like, let's capitalize on this opportunity and make Fort Worth a better place to live by actually investing in this infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and go to the big story, and that is what I think everybody already kind of has been seeing, and you probably know someone who's going to be impacted by this, but the Fort Worth Rodeo has been canceled. and you're looking at $100+ million that it brought to the Tarrant County and to Fort Worth. I know that we know a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are preparing for that day to maybe catch up due to having to be shut down, and he thought this could be a moment to capitalize, and it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. South by Southwest was one of the first dominoes to fall, which everyone was confused by, like not really sure what to do with that information. And we've seen other big cities in Texas take larger economic impacts because they've already lost their annual events. And each year it's estimated to generate $177 million in economic activity. A lot of your favorite small local businesses really look forward to this time of year because there are a lot of out-of-town people who are here on vacation, looking to spend money. Obviously a massive loss for the city and for these businesses. Probably the smart decision to make.
Yep.
Like, do we really want 150,000 people a day flooding those old barns? Like, probably not. They're not. They're not well ventilated. I think that the things around Dickies Arena could have probably been figured out, but I think it's smart if you can't go all the way, then to just say, hey, we're going to regroup for next year and make sure it's incredible come 2022. It's sad.
And the friend and the friend of the podcast was highlighted in Star Telegram, Jonathan Morris, and about how he was looking to, actually kind of open Hotel Dryce in time for the rodeo. And so, but as everyone in Fort Worth, we understand a we over me mentality. And, Jonathan had a, great quote about the importance of what's best for the community. Even though this, if this is going to impact tens of thousands of people, to make this safe, allow us to open up 100% quicker.
Yeah.
So he was, I thought that was a good kind of seeing him highlighted as someone who's saying, who was preparing strategically for this and took the punch and, but then also be able to speak out and just kind of continue to be the leader that he is.
Yeah. And I appreciate, so the reason this announcement is coming around now is that we're 90 days out from when the event would happen. And towards the beginning of the pandemic, the executive team behind the stock show and rodeo set out 90 days as we need to make a decision on if it is feasible by then. There's so many vendors, so many people involved that, I would much rather, and this debate went on with college football and the NFL. Would you rather have it planned and then canceled, or be proactive and then be able to change it later? And while not changing it later isn't necessarily relevant to this, I would much rather, if I were in that contractor's position, know 3 months ahead of time that this isn't going to happen, than be planning, buying, booking travel, and all of a sudden, like a month out, have to change everything. Yeah. I personally would not want to put all that hard work in just to
an investment.
Investment.
And who knows what investment you're going to be able to get back.
Yeah, so I appreciate that they're making a proactive decision and thinking about everyone involved.
Yeah.
Another big piece of this is all of the school age kids who participate in 4-H. They come up here for a few days. They all live together. They hang out in these poorly ventilated barns all day, every day while they're here. Like, that's just a breeding ground for these kids to spread it to each other. They did a good job at communicating the why behind the decision, offering a really clear picture of the decision being made. It just sucks, though.
Yeah, and now they're saying, really kind of the thing that really helps our small businesses when the event like this is taken away. And I'm not saying it's helping, but now like the biggest thing to really look forward, which is much smaller, is like the TCU's family weekends. So do you know anything about those still sticking around or how that's happening?
They haven't been letting people onto campus to do like speaking events.
Yeah.
Somehow football is immune from that. But I doubt in the current state that they would, but it's hard to say for next semester because I do feel like that's maybe something that could be thrown together a little bit quicker than the rodeo could.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the article and it brought that up. It's, one of the people they interviewed. So, but yeah, I mean, all in all, though, what you're seeing though is I feel like Texas and Fort Worth, our economy is really bouncing back compared to other places.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still talking about the things that are going on in New York, and the hits there, the unemployment there. Mm-hmm. That's just, it's crazy to see that. And then to see our housing still doing well, our, I guess, jobs going back to normal for a lot of people. So, I mean, we'll hold on and hopefully we can get it back. Cause I know it's in Vegas. And so maybe I don't know, did they say anything about it coming back to Fort Worth?
Well, this is different from that last rodeo.
Okay.
The last rodeo is the national bull riding. So I have not seen anything around that not happening. I believe that that's still happening come November, December. But
okay, so what's the difference?
We got $100 million one way and we lost like 170 million the other. So still a net loss. But yeah, to your point, like Fort Worth hasn't relied on tourism as a main driver outside of the stockyards and Sundance Square. And so I do think that a lot of places are starting to rebound.
Yeah. So now this could be on or off the show. So this is the state one.
This is the I do not know the different like levels of So this is based around the stock show, which is I don't think that it is tied to a national organization.
Got it.
I don't know that for certain.
Yeah.
Because I don't consider myself a rodeo expert. But the one from Vegas moving here is from professional bull riding, I believe. And
that one's still happening.
And that one is still happening.
And is looking to bring out similar amounts of people?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
now that's interesting.
That one is more based around the arenas, and what the executive team for the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo decided was, we think we could do the events in Dickies Arena just fine and do it safely, but we don't think we could do anything around the stock show safely. And the stock show, I believe, is what actually brings people here. And then the rodeo is sort of like the extra thing.
Got it. So, I mean, but is it safe to say that some of the businesses that we're talking about here can find ways with the national show from Vegas coming still recoup what they maybe were expecting from
potentially? The vibe I got from the information that was released around that one was that more of the events would be based in the stockyards, as opposed to Montgomery area. So it might be different businesses that are getting that bump than would before, but I would still say hotels wise, I would assume that there's still a number of people coming from out of town that need places to stay. I mean, car rentals, stuff. I don't know if stuff like that will feel as big of an impact, but I think that restaurants, etc., that got a lot of run from the Fort Worth show may not necessarily get what they thought from the big one,
because the big one's going to be in Arlington.
Yes,
got it. Wow, for someone who's never been to, I guess, a stock show or a rodeo, this has all seemed like it's crazy that we can have these mini mega events though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome that there's that community, because I think Fort Worth as a whole culturally represents that community well from a national perspective.
Yeah.
And so the fact that even that we're in those conversations is exciting. And maybe we should look to have someone on the show, or even maybe just next week really look more into the difference, and just because that could be confusing for even just a lot of people who maybe wanted to, I can't go to the national show anymore, or that's confusing. Because I honestly was unaware of the difference. And so my mind is like, wow, the fact that we could have 200,000 plus visitor shows around rodeos and stock shows, it's like, I live in a bubble. So that's really cool to see. But yeah, no, I think we can go on to kind of our wins and losses.
Yeah.
I'll kind of hit, I mean, since this is kind of different, but still around Fort Worth culture, I think, we were talking about Jonathan Morris and Hotel Dryce. I thought his partnership with Art Tooth to provide grants to Black and Brown and Indigenous artists to help design, I guess, put artwork in the upcoming Hotel Dryce, I thought was super smooth and cool, and just another great way how he continues to lead in Fort Worth. And then also from a cultural perspective, the music scene with, it's always great. Life is always better when Leon drops a single. And so he dropped a great single called All About You with Lucky Day. And that's a great song. And for people who listen to Leon and know, obviously, the old Coming Home, the good thing. I mean, I'm very impressed with who he's becoming and what kind of music he's making post all of that.
Yeah.
And just the evolution of him as an artist has been really awesome to see. So he got a lot of great singles out that I feel like everyone should listen to when you also go listen to the new one, All About You. And then even on top of that, Abraham Alexander headline Kessler Theater. That's big for Fort Worth, and sold out really quickly. And, Leon made an appearance, and that just brotherhood as a whole is just super inspiring, and continue to, I believe it's going to be another way, like the rodeo, another way as we become our talent, our musicians become more of a national name, that people become more familiar. Like, oh, what is Fort Worth? These guys are from Fort Worth.
Yeah.
That swag, that energy, that charisma, that funk that the aura that they bring wherever they go. I feel like it's really good for us that they're just that close and that strong to continue to get people excited. And so kudos to just the culture of Fort Worth and our just cultural leaders still making Fort Worth a place to shine and people to start knowing about at a national level.
Yeah. And I believe a teaser trailer for Jonathan's new show dropped this week as well.
Yes.
So that's another big hit point. Just some really awesome, down to earth, talented people representing the city. I know that the city is really excited for his show to drop, and get to have the country see what we have gotten to see over the last 6 to 8 years with Jonathan really investing in it. So big congratulations to all of them. It would be really cool to see Fort Worth continue to make a mark nationally in those cultural scenes that it hasn't necessarily been recognized for before, even though it has been happening.
Definitely. And I mean, I know we said we weren't going to do losses because of the rodeo, but I mean, I know we were just talking about fantasy football pre-Mike. So Dak Prescott, that was, man, that was brutal.
Yeah. I was watching the game and I saw it happen, and so I turned it off because I didn't want to watch it over and over again. Yeah. I watched long enough for one of the announcers to say something about spraining his ankle. And I was like, come on, man. We all saw his bone sticking out. Yeah. Best wishes to Dak. Really hope he recovers. Hope the Cowboys do right by him. Because I think that was one of the biggest conversations to come out of it was Dak knows what he's worth. I think the Cowboys know what he's worth.
Yeah.
They didn't want to give it to him this year, so they franchise tagged him. And hopefully he can fully recover and make that money that he deserves.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought it was interesting that Jerry was talking about how they could still go places with Andy. I thought that was kind of interesting. I saw that in the news. I was like, I mean, Andy's cool now, and I think he's been on teams and he's been on in close games. So,
yeah, big time TCU Rose Bowl winner.
Yeah.
Should have had a shot at the national championship that year. Yeah, I mean they're not.
Yeah, and those
they're
weapons.
They're not replacing him with Dak, but they're replacing him with a high quality quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's just a really sucky situation to see. The Prescott's in. Somebody who has spoken out nationally on TV about mental health, is looking to drive initiatives around mental health. Hopefully he still gets to drive those. I'm sure that will be a big conversation for him as he's going through this whole rehab process. But looking for, as somebody who hates the Cowboys, I'm still looking forward to seeing him recover and get back on the field.
Yeah. Well, let's hear your wins, and if you have a loss, maybe you think of something crazy. But what's your win?
Yeah, my win sort of plays into my OCD self, but state-of-the-art traffic flow technology has been installed on Fort Worth traffic lights, where people will actually be able to watch and monitor traffic lights to make sure that the flow of traffic stays consistent. So when you are driving through downtown and you see that one red light in the middle of 6 green lights, I think this means that somebody will be able to change that green. I know driving back from the theater back home, I usually like to go through downtown and hit those 7 or 8 lights in a row that are all green. It makes my heart happy and full. But I think this is a really cool, interesting thing that there's going to be people in a room looking at a video wall, being able to control traffic signals and potentially be able to get rid of or help that nitpicky light that you hate pulling up to because it takes forever to change. So I don't know. It was one of those things I read and I was like, yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. If you want to read the article, it's on the Fort Worth Business Press.
Yeah. And I think it's cool. That it's like, we all talk about like AI and machine learning, but it's like, no, we're going to have some humans, like, looking at a board and looking at a screen. and honestly, like that's even like, if you look at Facebook, like tens of thousands of their employees are like content managers and they still are manually saying yes and no to content on their platforms. And it's crazy how we make this sound like, driving, self-driving cars and robots taking over is here, but yet, nope, we still got people going to help us get that green, that red light green. So I think the image in my head is just kind of funny how we're not as futuristic as we might all think.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really cool thing. I really haven't come up with a loss. I think that the rodeo is obviously big enough to cover everything. I'll give a second win, and that is that my Tampa Bay Rays are coming to Arlington to go to the World Series.
Yeah.
That's exciting. But another local win would be, we want to say congratulations to the Fort Worth Star-Telegram
that is big.
Team that is working towards unionizing. They've created their guild and are waiting for McClatchy to voluntarily recognize their union. We are both big consumers of the Star-Telegram. We encourage you to do the same because local journalism is super important. And we're excited to see this team hopefully get the recognition they deserve in creating an equitable newsroom. I think especially the Star-Telegram has a number of young reporters on the team that really make following them on Twitter like a supplement to the subscription that like brings the value of the Star-Telegram subscription by itself. So congratulations to them. They had their big announcement this last week. McClatchy is recognized, I believe, one other news guild pretty recently, and so hopefully they follow suit with recognizing our team here at the Star Telegram.
It's funny, me and you decided to start this kind of show because we felt like people weren't reading the news locally, and we were naturally interested in fans of doing so. And the amount of people I already know who got a Star Telegram subscription, who are spending more time reading the news, I think it's cool. But what's really crazy is I don't think we started it with realizing how talented and just the culture of Star Telegram seems to be very, and you really can see that on Twitter. They just seem to really like to work there. They seem to really like each other.
Yeah. And
everyone's really talented. I mean, you got a lot of Mizzou people there, which is a very high distinguished journalism.
Yeah.
You know, I was a journalism major from the University of Oklahoma. And so just seeing like, you know, all of them and they're young and they're just seem really ambitious. So,
they're putting in work to do really interesting stories and provide a really comprehensive look at Fort Worth. And we have a lot of great publications here between them and, Fort Worth Weekly is more of an alternative source, but they do a lot of great journalism. The Business Press brings a lot of the business side of that. All the magazines that we have, we really love the scene that we have here, and it's exciting to see the team from the Star Telegram take this step and hopefully get recognized in doing so.
Yep. Awesome. I think that's a great place to end, and hope everybody continues to be safe, continue to wear your mask.
Go vote.
Go vote. Get your auntie to vote, your uncle to vote, the homies to vote. Y'all need to roll up, show up, and I'll be doing the same. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you guys have any stories that you want us to talk about, break down, or guest, that's going to be great. And hopefully you learned something, because even I learned something while talking, that there's a difference between the stock show and the National Rodeo. That was a big one for me, because I read those stories both in Fort Worth Magazine and in the Star Telegram and did not register that the entire time. So this is a learning process for all of us, and that's why investing in local journalism and spending that time to put that muscle. You want to go 30 minutes a day at the gym and feed your muscles. I think you do the same thing to your mind with your civic duty as a person as well. It's a part of your regimen, and hopefully you invest that time. And if you're investing that time with us, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.